Hi, everyone. My name is Eva Sparks, and I've had the great opportunity to serve as the team leader for the OFA team, or as we like to call it, OF Yay, this semester. We have spent literally so much time together over the course of the semester, a rough estimate of 83 hours by my calculations. We've been learning about elective eye care, botany, compensating children, and diagnostic testing. Throughout the course of the semester, though, we've also learned a little bit about each other. For example, in addition to being incredible I-CCEW interns, Drew is a master chef, Rachel has seen just about every 2020 Oscar nominee, Colt is an ambitious reader, and HP can rock just about any hairstyle. The team was also incredibly adaptable and patient as we navigated the uncertain territory of Zoom. I think I actually spent more time on Zoom with these four during social distancing than just about anyone else in my life, so that's pretty exciting. I'm incredibly proud of the work of each team member and all of their hard work throughout the course of the semester. It's been so fun to get to know each other between our highs and lows of the week, the projects, and just about everything in between. So without further ado, I'll hand it off to OFA.
Thank you, Eva. So we are the OFA team. Each of us has worked one-on-one with an Oklahoma City-based startup to address any opportunities or problems that they may be facing. Our team lead is Eva Sparks, and our fellow is Keith Nutter. My name is Drew Yamasha. I'm a sophomore studying economics and finance from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I've had the privilege of working with Tribal Diagnostics this semester.
My name is Rachel Loba. I'm a junior advertising major from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I've had the opportunity to work with LoveWorks this semester.
My name is Colt Bennett. I'm a senior from Tulsa, Oklahoma, studying accounting, finance, and supply chain management, and I've had the honor of working with Dean McGee Eye Institute this semester.
My name is H. Pike, and I'm a senior from Houston, Texas, pursuing degrees in economics and professional writing. And I've had the distinct pleasure of working with the Green Tree Project this semester.
Tribal Diagnostics is a lab diagnostics company that specializes in drug urine testing and health and wellness blood testing. Their goal is to better health outcomes, and they do it by working with hospitals and physicians to provide tailored information to help prevent and treat diseases. They're currently Native American and rurally focused, but they're willing to work with everybody. Tribal Diagnostics this semester's goal was looking into direct-to-consumer lab testing. I broke this problem down into 3 phases. First, to identify the potential markets for direct-to-consumer lab testing. Second, to create a business strategy for market entry. And finally, analyzing the financial viability of market entry. After 18 expert and consumer interviews, a survey with over 130 responses, and countless secondary research, the data is given the following insights. First, Tribal Diagnostics should target the health-focused market because of their interest and their willingness to pay. Overall, 56% of consumers were interested in direct-to-consumer testing, but the real differentiator was their willingness to pay, as physically active and dieted consumers were about 110% more willing to pay for direct-to-consumer testing than other groups. Given that there are about 241,000 physically active consumers in Oklahoma City and 80,000 dieting consumers in Oklahoma City, adjusting for their willingness to pay for tribal diagnostic prices, there is an ideal target market of 125,000 health-focused people that Tribal Diagnostics will be able to target. To target this market effectively, Tribal Diagnostics should utilize patient service centers. 64% of consumers that were interviewed preferred patient service centers to at-home testing for specimen collection. Given that consumers are willing to drive on average about 8.6 miles for routine medical care, Tribal Diagnostics can expect to reach about 47,000 of that 125,000 target market. Given the capacity for 100 tests per day, Tribal Diagnostics will be able to adequately serve this market and their current business with physician-ordered testing as well. The picture on the slide shows the ideal location for a patient service center. The proximity to health and fitness businesses in the area indicates that this area serves a health-focused market and would be a great place for a patient service center. Tribal Diagnostics would have to update their marketing by adding consumer-focused infrastructure to their website, as well as supplement their social media posts with information and value-driven posts for direct-to-consumer testing in order to bring in some more patients. If Tribal Diagnostics is able to implement these strategies, they should expect consistent revenue from both their direct-to-consumer and physician-ordered testing over the first 5 years, as they will expect about $1 million in sales revenue over that first 5 years. After the initial cost of setting up a patient service center, Tribal Diagnostics Patient Service Center will break even in year 2. As you can also see in the rapid growth of the blue column on the chart, direct-to-consumer testing revenue will outpace physician-ordered testing by year 3. This is mainly due to their higher margins and not having to worry about insurance reimbursements, as well as its higher growth rate, given that it's a new segment for Tribal Diagnostics business. Next steps for Tribal Diagnostics include leasing a space and renovating to create their patient service center, updating their website for a consumer-focused infrastructure, and putting together a marketing plan to bring in consumers for the direct-to-consumer side of their business. I will now pass it off to Rachel to talk about LoveWorks.
Thank you, Drew. LoveWorks is a nonprofit that provides middle schoolers the opportunity to learn leadership skills through a variety of programs. Through the experiential learning program, students learn about entrepreneurial skills through partnering with local businesses and professionals to begin their own business. Currently, 2 of these student-led businesses, Real Kitchen Salsa and Wrist World, are profitable. Next slide. To direct profits from these businesses to the students, LoveWorks must create a compensation plan. I've broken this problem down into 3 phases. First, exploring best practices of businesses with a similar model. Second, researching potential legal barriers. And third, creating the final recommended compensation plan. My research and interviews identified 3 key considerations in creating a compensation plan, which led to the conclusion that LoveWorks cannot utilize a direct compensation model. First, I found that no similar businesses compensated their participants. In addition, the student-led businesses created were much smaller in scale than LoveWorks and therefore feasible for students to own the businesses themselves and get paid that way. Since LoveWorks works on a larger scale, it wouldn't succeed under that same structure. Second, in Oklahoma, minimum wage is $7.25, so LoveWorks would need to bring in enough revenue to pay its participants hourly, and currently they're not. The minimum wage of employment is also $14, which is older than many participants in the program. Therefore, LoveWorks needs to ensure that participants are not categorized as employees. The third consideration is the Fair Labor Standards Act. This is the federal law that determines whether someone is classified as an employee. As of right now, LoveWorks would be considered a student learning program, and in order to maintain this, they have to fulfill several criteria, including that there can be no formal agreement of payment from an employer. Instead of using direct compensation, LoveWorks can implement compensation through scholarships and compensation through a business exit. Next slide. Scholarships will allow for profits to be redirected to participants and will maintain LoveWorks' core values of leadership and education. The breakdown you see here, which is based on the partnership agreement of Wrist World's current model, divides the profits between the partnership return, LoveWorks return, student compensation, and additional non-program specific grants. Of the student compensation slice, 80% of funds would go towards the scholarship program and 20% would be put towards benefits such as conferences and professional opportunities. The student portion of profits would go into the same bucket, regardless of which business it came from. Students who receive the award will all receive the same amount. The criteria for the scholarship is that the student must be a former participant of LoveWorks experiential learning program, and they would become eligible for this one-time award their senior year of high school. LoveWorks would implement a scholarship oversight committee to ensure the program aligns with IRS standards of a fair and unbiased selection process. Next slide. In addition to the scholarship program, LoveWorks should develop an exit strategy that allows student founders to receive compensation in the event of a sale. This would be an option if a business becomes successful, too large for LoveWorks to operate, or drifts away from LoveWorks' core goal of education. In a potential sale, there are 3 primary parties to consider: LoveWorks, the students, and the associated partner. On this slide, I've laid out 3 sales scenarios and how each would impact student compensation. First, if the business was sold to the existing partner, LoveWorks and founders would split the profits 50-50, and the student founders would split their portions equally. Second, if a LoveWorks business was sold to an outside company, the partner would first be paid for any outstanding costs, then LoveWorks and students would split the remaining share of profits. Third, if former student founders or participants decided to buy the business to run themselves, the partner would once again be paid first, then LoveWorks would split the remaining profits with student founders who are not involved in the sale. However, LoveWorks should also retain the option of a buyback. That way, if students are unable to achieve success or lose interest, the business is still able to be an educational tool under LoveWorks. Next slide. The scholarship program will require the most work to implement, so the next steps for LoveWorks will be to set aside the funds for scholarships and begin selecting oversight committees. Beginning now, they should separate the student portion of profits into a separate scholarship fund. Between now and 2023, LoveWorks should select the members for its oversight committees and determine scholarship specifics. Then, when current students become seniors in the fall of 2023, the first scholarship application would open. And now I'm going to pass it off to Colt to talk about Dean McGee Eye Institute.
Thank you, Rachel. Dean McGee Eye Institute is an Oklahoma-based ophthalmology clinic focused on providing quality care to all patients. They provide approximately 200,000 patient visits each year and perform more than 10,000 surgeries annually. Currently, Dean McGee aims to improve its marketing for elective procedures and increase patient traffic for LASIK specifically. To address this, I first defined the target market for LASIK in Oklahoma to be adults ages 21 to 39 who make at least $45,000 a year. I then interviewed competitors in the area to identify best marketing tactics for elective procedures. And now I'm ready to provide a list of recommended marketing strategies for Dean McGee to implement moving forward. Current patient data shows that Dean McGee has an opportunity to attract more LASIK customers from its existing patient base. Dean McGee has a goal of performing 600 LASIK procedures annually. Currently, they perform LASIK on 180 patients each year, a majority of whom do not come to Dean McGee for routine eye care. Looking at the patients that Dean McGee serves on a routine basis, 1,308 of them fall within the population eligible to receive LASIK, showing that there's ample opportunity to grow their LASIK business from their internal patients. Next slide. Interviews with competitors in the area, as well as patients who have received LASIK in the past, indicate that current patient referrals are the most effective way for LASIK clinics to attract new business. 100% of the competitors I spoke with said that current patient referrals are highly effective in bringing new business to their clinics. And one of Dean McGee's top competitors, who performs 400 surgeries a month, said that 36% of their procedures come in as a result of current patient referrals. Of the 10 patients I was able to interview, 90% of them mentioned getting LASIK due to a referral from someone they knew. And one lady was actually kind enough to share with me that initially when she was looking at getting LASIK, she was kind of nervous. She didn't really understand anything about the procedure, didn't really know where to go. But after hearing about the great experience that her sister had, she was willing to drive 90 miles just to go to that same clinic. So with this in mind, next slide. By increasing LASIK-specific marketing through patient referrals, email marketing, and targeted social media ads, Dean McGee can attract more LASIK patients at a low cost. All three of these strategies have high marginal benefits as they attract a large number of patients and can be implemented at low cost. Additionally, Dean McGee has the infrastructure in place to support all three of these strategies, making implementation fairly easy moving forward. Patient referrals and email advertisements will allow Dean McGee to leverage their internal patient base, whereas social media advertisements will allow them to expand their reach outside of the clinic. And through implementing these recommended marketing strategies, Dean McGee will be able to increase its LASIK throughput by 300% in the first year. The dashed lines on this chart represent Dean McGee's target benchmark for a number of LASIK patients treated on an annual basis. And as you can see, they'll achieve that first benchmark of 600 patients a year by the end of year 1, and achieve their second benchmark of 1,200 patients a year by the end of year 5. In addition to this, new LASIK patients will help generate an additional $23 million in revenue over this 5-year period. So next steps are to design the patient referral network and develop email and social media campaigns. I've drafted a communication plan that can be implemented into Dean McGee's current infrastructure to aid a patient referral network. They should create tailored email campaigns highlighting their LASIK clinic specifically, and they should continue to develop engaging social media ads highlighting positive patient experiences. And now I'll pass it off to HP to talk about the Green Tree Project.
Thank you, Colt. The Green Tree Project is an environmentally conscious live Christmas tree rental business. It's currently based in Oklahoma City and services the entire metro area. How it works is from the comfort of your home, you order a Green Tree Project tree, and it's delivered for you in your home and set up right there with white glove delivery service. After the holidays are over, it's picked up from your house and transported to a local nonprofit to be replanted. Green Tree Project seeks a way to evaluate future expansion to other metropolitan areas. The first phase of my work stream involved identifying key purchasing factors for Christmas tree consumers. The next work phase involved evaluating their comparative importance and forming a replicable rubric. And finally, this last phase has involved creating a list of metropolitan areas and an expansion plan timeline. Throughout the process, I've identified 13 key factors to look for in new cities, reached out to leaders of over 40 top nonprofits across the US, and surveyed over 200 consumers. The current Green Tree Project business model requires a tree nursery and nonprofit be located nearby. This is because trees cannot travel more than 330 miles per year and remain carbon neutral, which is a necessity because Green Tree Project values environmentalism and conservatism. Houston is the most promising city for a near future expansion, and Salt Lake City is the second most promising city. This is based on their large market sizes, low median age, high median household income, and the viability of a nonprofit and nursery well within that 330-mile limit. I consider 21 other cities when making this recommendation. Following the rubric, Green Tree Project should partner with the Buffalo Bayou Partnership in Houston and source trees from the Sorrel Tree Farm. The Buffalo Bayou Partnership is great because it has tons of land and room for lots of trees, even if Green Tree Project expands, and they said they were interested. Next, the Sorrel Tree Farm is a good option because they supply the type of trees, Leland cypresses, that Green Tree Project currently uses, and it's a family-run business with core values that match my clients. And next, Houston fits Green Tree Project's values based on its high concentration of charity work and nonprofits in the cities, which is important to Green Tree Project. The last piece of the rubric is, can Green Tree Project confidently sell 500 trees in Houston? Survey data has indicated that whether cities can do this will be a function of population, demographics, climate concern, and political party. Nearly 3/4 of respondents to my survey who were under the age of 40 said they would buy a Green Tree Project tree at its current price. And Houston has a low median age. Green Tree Project is more expensive than other Christmas tree options, but Houston also has a high median income. And next, more households mean more tree sales, and unmarried people said they would be interested in Green Tree Project at a higher rate than married people. And Houston has a large proportion of the city that's never been married. Next, of respondents who said they were worried about climate change, about 2/3 said they would buy a Green Tree Project tree at the current price. And in Houston, according to a Yale climate survey, over 70% of Houstonians are worried about climate change. And finally, Democrats said they would buy a Green Tree Project tree at an 11% higher rate than Republicans, even when accounting for climate concern. And Houston is politically blue. If Green Tree Project chooses to move to Houston, a successful expansion will involve forming flexible partnerships that allow for growth. First, they should form a partnership with the Buffalo Bayou Partnership and a local landscaper. Next, they must ensure that the Sorrel Tree Farm can provide the necessary quantity of trees in the next years. And finally, they should market services to Houstonians and build up their website. Thank you all so much for being here and tuning in tonight. I know it means a lot to all of us, and also we would really like to thank our team lead, Eva Sparks, and all of our clients. They've all been phenomenal and made it just a wonderful experience. We welcome any questions now.
And remember, you can type questions in the chat or use the raised hand function and we will call on you.
All right, looks like we have a question for Green Tree Project. Wouldn't reusing artificial trees be more environmentally friendly than this option?
Yeah, so the issue with artificial trees is over 90% of them are manufactured with chemicals and components from China that are bad for the environment, and they're shipped all the way from there to here. So it has a net very negative environmental impact. And when you have trees that are grown and raised locally, every single year they're alive, they're capturing about a gallon worth of CO2 per foot of the tree. And so it's having a net positive impact on the environment. And so when you have a Green Tree Project potted tree and then you put it back in the ground after the holidays, you continue to have this positive impact of more and more carbon dioxide captured rather than having the negative impact of an artificial tree. Thank you.
All right, do we have any other questions? Anybody typing? All right, it doesn't look like it. Thanks, team.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Oh.
This is for Colt. So I remember you're saying this clinic is trying to go into this like eye laser market. Do they have like any like competitive advantage, like if they going into this market comparing to like other existing clinics out there who already have customer base and the knowledge of doing this business?
Right. So if I'm understanding, you're asking what competitive advantage does my client have when trying to enter this LASIK market, essentially?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So Dean McGee is a comprehensive clinic. They have many different specialists that can treat pretty much any type of eye care need that you have, and they do have both the equipment and the doctors to provide high quality LASIK care. They do have patients currently going through. There's just not a lot of brand awareness for their LASIK clinic specifically. And so their competitive advantage involved that they do fixed pricing, which is something that you won't find at a lot of LASIK clinics, since a lot of it is based on, they say it's variable based on patient, but DME offers fixed pricing when you walk in the door. Included with that is 12 months of follow-up care. So that means any Any alterations that might need to happen will be taken care of there, and your routine eye exam will continue with that. And they do routinely offer about $1,000 off their fixed price. So when you come there, you're getting fixed pricing, so you know what you're paying. You have a discount that will most likely be offered, and you have routine follow-up care that is provided with your payment.
Thanks.
Hey, Colt, this is Frank Franzese. Can I ask a question also? It's kind of along the same lines.
Yes.
The market, the LASIK market to me seems extremely competitive. And in fact, it seems like it's almost promo driven, in terms of, trying to drive demand. And I'm just curious, so from a competitive standpoint, were you able to look at any of the existing patients inside of Dean McGee that didn't choose to do LASIK with Dean McGee, knew about it, right? But didn't choose to do LASIK with Dean McGee because, they just were not competitive from a pricing perspective. Now, albeit I understand the others, Dean McGee may include in their package, ongoing treatment for a year, whatever the case may be, but still, when a patient's evaluating that, I'm wondering how competitive they look on their product pricing.
So if I'm understanding, you want to know how, if looking at the patients who go to Dean McGee, was able to evaluate whether or not they looked at Dean McGee's pricing or other advantages and to compare to the competition in the market.
Yeah, and then as a second part to that question, did you find that Dean McGee was competitively priced in the market?
Got it. So the second part of your question, are they competitively priced? Dean McGee on a per eye basis does fall within the average market price for LASIK. And again, that competitive advantage is the fact that they offer fixed pricing versus variable, because a lot of clinics may offer LASIK for only maybe $100 or $200 an eye, but once you're evaluated, it really goes up to anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 an eye once you need your full correction. So from that standpoint, they are still within that market pricing. And in terms of evaluating internal patients, of those patients who have gotten LASIK at Dean McGee, a majority of them do not go there for routine eye care. They've come in because they know people who go to Dean McGee and they've heard of their reputation. And I was only able to evaluate the internal patients based on age range and whether or not they're insured as an indicator of whether or not they might be able to afford those out-of-pocket expenses. Moving forward, I would recommend that my client does look at pre-existing eye conditions to see maybe what would qualify or disqualify those patients from receiving LASIK, but I was not able to do a further analysis of if those patients have compared Dean McGee and their pricing to other competitors. But based on mine, they are priced competitively with their competitors.
Okay, thank you.
Our last question is for LoveWorks. Rachel, did you try to estimate the size of the scholarship?
Yes. So currently, LoveWorks has 2 businesses in this program, and I only have access to financial information from one. So because of that, the numbers are imprecise. And the business that I do have the numbers from, they've only been in operation for about a year. So this will change as that business continues to grow and innovate. But as of right now, if every student currently in the program apply for the scholarship, based on revenues from both business, and this is just an estimated figure, but they would receive about $300 to $500.
Great, thanks team.